We'll be doing the SAT practice test, math test calculator section. Okay, so the first problem, John runs at different speeds as part of his training program. The graph shows his target heart rate at different times during his workout. On which interval is the target heart rate strictly increasing, then strictly decreasing? For this one, you can see the answer is obviously between 40 and 60 because at all other times, the his target heart rate is not strictly increasing and decreasing. It's more like increasing and then plateaus and then decreases. So the answer must be B. Okay, for 2, if y equals to kx, where k is a constant, and y equals to 24 when x equals 6, what is the value of y when x equals to 6? Okay, so let's find k. If y, okay, if y, wait, okay, then the answer would be 24 equals to k times 6. So k equals to 4, and that means y, which is k times x, equals to 4 times 5. So the answer is 20, which is C. For this one, you can see that angle 1 is 35, right? And angle 1 is 35, that means angle 3 must also be 35 because they are corresponding angles for the parallel lines L and M. And then angle 3 must also be equal to angle 4 because they are also corresponding angles for parallel lines S and T. Therefore, angle 2 is equals to 180 minus 35, which is D 145. Okay. If 16 plus 4x is 10 more than 24, what is the value of 8x? Okay, what this thing is saying is 16 plus 4x equals to 24. Okay, and that means 4x would equals to 24 minus 16, which is 8. And then if you double this to become 8x, then it would equal to 16, so which is C. Problem number 5 is asked which graph best shows a strong negative association between D and T. For this one, you can see it is not A because it's scattered, and it's also not B because there is no positive nor negative relation between them. And for C, you can see that there is a positive association, so the answer must be D. Okay. Okay, so this answer tells you that 10 grams equals to 1 decagram, and 1000 milligrams equals to 1 gram. And it asks how many 1 milligram doses are there in a 1 decagram in 1 2 decagram container. Okay, so 1 2 decagram container, 2 decagrams, and it would have 20 grams. And then 1 gram equals to 1000 milligrams. That means 20 grams would equal to 2000 milligrams. For this one, number of rooftops in solar panel installations in 5 cities is shown in the graph below. If total number of installation is 27,500, what is the appropriate label for the vertical axis? Let's say, okay, so this one, let's say that the X represents the number of installations per unit, so it will be A is 9x, and then B is 5x, C is 6x, D is 4x, and then E is 3.5x. So that means if you add them all up, you get 27.5x. And this equals to 2,000, 2,700, and 500. Okay? And thus, x must equal to 1,000. So the answer would be C. For one value of n is n minus 1, the absolute value of n minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0. There is no value because the absolute value means this number must always be positive or 0. And if the number is 0, then 0 plus 1 would equal to 1. And if the answer is positive, then the answer will still be positive. So it is impossible for a value of n in this equation to equal 0. For this one, the answer would be A. Because if you have this equation and then you subtract 1052 and then you divide by 1.08, then you get A. For this one, you would substitute 1000 for A because it says the speed of sound wave will be close to 1000 feet, so you have 1000 minus 1052 and then you divide that by 1.08, which will approximately equal to 48.15, which is B. Okay, so for this one, let's say you subtract 3x from both sides, and you add 3 to both sides, then you will get negative 2 is greater than equal to x, which is x is less than or equal to negative 2. And the answer would be A, because negative 1 is not less than or equal to negative 2. So for this one, let's say you add all of the, for this one, to find the mean, you would have 3 number of seeds times the number of apple times 2, and you add 5 times 4 plus 6 plus 7 times 2, and then plus 9 times 3. And that equals to 73. And if you divide by the total number of apples, which is 12, you get about 6. So the answer would be C. Okay, let's see. So 19 over 100 is 19%, and if you multiply that by the total amount of people, which is 310, then there should be about 58.9 respondents. And from the chart, you can see that the number of males taking geometry is closest to this. So the answer must be C. For this one, um, you can, you would assume that the median would not change a lot because most of these numbers are around the same size. So the median right now is 12. And if you get rid of this 24, then the median would still be 12, so the median won't change. The mean, on the other hand, would change by um and then let's see. Um well, you can tell that the range currently is 24 minus 8, which equals to 24 minus 8 equals to 16. Now, if you get rid of this 24, it would just be 16, 8, which equals to 8. Okay? And this is a change of 8, which is pretty large. And to calculate the change of the mean, then you would just add up all of these values and then divide by the total number of fishes to find the mean. And you will find out that it is not as great as 8. So the answer must be C. Okay, for question number 15, the intercept will represent the initial cost of renting the boat because from is because at time 0 it costs $5. That means it has nothing to do with the amount of hours you rented the boat, so it must be the initial cost. And for question 16, the answer would be C because the y-intercept, the c-intercept is 5, so it must either be C or B. And if you calculate the slope, you have 8 minus 5 over 1 minus 0 equals to 3. Therefore, the slope must be 3, so it must be C. For this one, you can see the graph is at its minimum here, and the value of x for when y is here is 1, 2, 3, negative 3s. The answer must be B. Okay, if 0, 0 is a solution, that means 0 is less than 0 plus a, and 0 is greater than 0 plus b. Therefore, a is greater than 0 while b is less than 0. Therefore, a is greater than b. Okay, let's say x is the number of salads sold and y is the number of drinks sold. Then it would equal to 209 total salads and drinks sold. And the price per salad is 6.5 x plus $2 per drink equals to 836.5, which is the total amount of money made. Now, if you multiply the entire first equation by 2, you would get 2x plus 2y equals to 418. And then if you subtract the second equation by the third equation, you would get 4.5x equals to 418.5. Okay, therefore the number of salad zones is x equals to 418.5 over 4.5, which equals to 93. Therefore the answer must be B. Okay, let's have x be the original price of the computer. Okay, and now the discount is 20% off the original price. So it would be x minus 0.2x equals to 0.8x. And then the sales tax is 8% of the discounted price, which is 0.08 times 0.88x. And Alman paid the cashiers the sum of the discounted price and the tax, which is this plus 0.8x equals to P. And if you simplify this, if you write this in terms of x, then you would have P over 0.8 times 1.08. Therefore, the answer must be D. Okay. Okay, so first, if a person is chosen at random from those who caught at least one dream, then you would have 39 plus 125. That's the amount of people who recall at least one dream. Now, the total amount of people, and now the amount of people in group Y that recall at least one dream is 11 plus 68 is 79. So the answer will be 79 over 164, which is C. Alright, from 2008 to 2010 in the agricultural to natural resources budget, if you do 35800 plus, alright, for the average range of change is 488106 minus 358708. And if you do this divided by 2, which is the amount of years, you get 64699, and which would be B, because it's the closest. Which one is the closest? Of the human ratios budget, of its 2007 budget to its 210 budgets? The answer would be education, because this is approximately 2 over 3, and that's most similar to 4 over 6. So it would be education. For the equation of a circle, you could write it as x minus h to the power of 2 plus y minus k to the power of 2 equals to r squared, where h and k are the coordinates of the center of the circle. Since the coordinates of the center is 0 and 4, and the equation of the circle, it would be x plus y minus 4 squared equals to r squared. Therefore, it must be either C or A. And to find the radius, you would use the distance formula, which equals to 4 divided by 3 power 2 plus minus 0 plus 5 minus 4 to the power of 2. to 22.77, and which this is approximately 25 over 9. So the answer must be A. Okay, so when the ball hits the ground, the height is 0. So you would set h equal to 0. And then you would um you would set 0 equals to negative 4.9 t to the power 2 plus 25t. And thus, and this can also be written out as 0 equals to t 4.9 t to the power 2 and t plus 25. So the answers for t would either be 0 or 25 over 4.9, which equals to approximately 5.1. Time 0 is when the ball launched from the ground. And now what we want to find is when the time of the ball hits the ground. So it must be this one, 5.1. So the answer must be D. Let's say, okay, so we know that type A trees produce 20% more pears than type B trees. Okay, so let's have X is the number of pears produced by type B trees, and because type A trees produce 20% more pears, the equation can be represented as X plus 0.2X equals to 1.2X pears. And type A produces 144 pears. That means 1.2X equals to 144. That means X equals to 144 over 1.2 equals to 120. So type B must have produced 120 pairs. Okay, so we know the area of the field is 100 square meters. So on average, the earthworm counts to a depth of 5 centimeters for each of the regions investigated by the students. Should be 1 over 100 of the total number of earthworms to a depth of 5 centimeters in the entire field. So this counts for the smaller regions, which are 107 to 176. The entire field should be around 1,000, 10,700, and then 1,700. So for the given choices, the one that is most realistic to this is 1,500, which is C. Okay, so if we want to solve this, we could do a rough sketch of the inequalities. So for y is greater than 2x plus 1, that would look like around here. And for y is greater than 1/2 x plus 1, they will look about like this. Wait, it will look more like this because it's a dashed line. Because it is greater than, not greater than, or equal to. And now so the solution to the system of inequalities is the intersection of the regions above the graph of both lines. And from here you can see the solutions only include quadrants 1, 2, and 3. Because these are the only place where they intersect. Therefore, it cannot be in quadrant 4. Okay. So if polynomial px is divided by x minus 3, we could have px divided by x minus 3 equals to q of x plus r over x minus 3, where qx is a polynomial and r is a remainder. Since x minus 3 is a degree 1 polynomial, the remainder must be a real number. So px can also be written as px equals to x minus 3 qx plus r. And r is a real number. And now we know that p3 equals to negative 2. So it must be that p3 equals to 3 minus 3 times q3 plus r. Therefore, the remainder must be r. Okay, so the remainder when px so if negative 2 equals to p3 equals to 3 minus 3 q3 plus r, and this equals to 0 q3 plus r. Therefore, r must equal to negative 2. So the answer would be D, x minus 3 and negative 2. A quadratic function can be written in the form x equals to a, x minus h to the power of 2 plus k, where a, h, and k are constants, and hk is the vertex of the parabola. So we know the equation of the graph is y equals to x to the power of 2 minus 2x minus 15, and the coefficient of x is negative 2. So the equation can be written in the form x minus 1 to the power of 2 equals to x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then if you do y equals to x to the power of 2 minus 2x minus 15 equals to x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 16 equals to x minus 1 squared minus 16. So that is how you complete the square. And from this equation, the coefficients, we can see the coefficients as 1 and negative 16, which shows the answer must be D.